face and start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares on the best part of my day.
The goods from the woods.
Hot damn!
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
Sam Harder.
I'm Carter Glasscock.
And today we are joined by the man of 10,000 lakes.
But
I don't know,
yes, fair
I don't know how to do a fucking
that's
intro,
good.
but
You're doing great.
But the man is here. He's a hilarious stand-up comedian and a mutual friend of a friend of the show, Luke Jensen, and a guy I met a couple years ago down at Dave Williamson's show at Flights.
Yes.
When you were just in town from Minnesota, but now
I crashed at this apartment or the one next door.
the one next door that
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
exactly the same. He's an LA man. He's here.
Adam Quesnell.
Hey, all right.
My last name's spelled with a Q, so figure that out.
And there's an S that doesn't make a peep.
It's a gross French Canadian.
Quiet as a church mouse. That
It's
is.
a French Canadian thing. I don't get it. But this is great. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here.
I'm trying to be a better guest on things, and I've never thanked somebody at the top before, so this is just a peek behind the curtain in my process. Sorry, but yes, thank you. This is great.
No one takes the time to do that. It's appreciated.
Well, good.
Really, truly.
We got a lot
Adam's
of
a nice boy.
motherfuckers who come on this podcast.
More it's like, how long is this shit gonna be? You know, and shit like that.
How long is this going to take? I very much enjoy Adam Quesnell. Every time you go, we see each other at the legendary Other Door open mic.
Yes.
And you were always a
Tuesday comedy.
a very highlight. You were always a highlight of my evening there.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I can impress at an open mic, but I like it.
It's a situation, if you're not a comedian, you're listening to this, where it's very difficult to shine, to stand out, and you were always the person when you go up. I know it's always going to be off the wall and very funny. So
thank you.
I always
Thank
watch
you so much.
your joke about Domino's having the coupon, taking
Pizza
anybody's
points.
pizza points.
I gotta figure that bit is so hard to do.
At Domino's, we love pizza as much as you do. That's why we're giving you Piece of the Pie rewards points for eating any pizza from anywhere. Download the Domino's app, scan your pizza, and you could earn 10 Piece of the Pie rewards points toward free Domino's pizza.
And then I tried it a few times where I'd yell, "We're Domino's. We just want to be your pizza cuck. We don't care.
We'll take anybody's."
The audience liked it less than you guys did, but we'll get there. I'm trying to do more. I'm trying to do more stand up because I'm more comfortable being here after being here for a year or whatever. And I'm excited to get back out there and email everybody on the planet to try to do stand up again because I miss it. I mean, fucking. In Minneapolis, there's multiple mics every night that have like audiences of people that aren't comedians.
What?
Like, it is
in Minneapolis?
Seriously, a promised land. Like there is the comedy scene up there. I'm not saying I made a terrible mistake, but if I wanted to write as much as I want to write stand up, it was amazing, dude. And it's like that when you move to any city, but LA is not any city, it's like, it's crazy, but I'm getting into it and I like it. And Other Door is a great mic to hang out. It's like a good hang and, you get to see people and it's a lot of fun. It's close to my house.
That's always a plus.
Also plus.
Mm-hmm. So you've been out here for a year now. What are you doing job wise?
Well, now I work in a job I can't talk too much about,
sure.
Not because it's super secret, just because it pains my soul. No.
You'll start screaming and crying.
I work for a phone company, essentially, doing customer support for like small businesses.
Oh God!
And it's fine. I mean, it's like it's a day job. I'm this goofy kind of guy with debt and stuff. And so I always have to have a day, like a 40-hour-a-week day job where they might give me health insurance because in addition to debt, I have asthma and mental health challenges, as my therapist wants me to put it.
Shit.
And so I always have to have like a day job that's good enough where they sell me cheap health insurance. And that means sometimes you got to work, you got to talk to small businesses about
I was going to say, sometimes you have to
phones.
talk to weird ski-doo owners in
great.
Florida.
I have some customer service background. I used to work on the phone for a boutique carpet cleaning experience.
Wait,
place.
boutique?
Well, no, not like they weren't like playing Bad Cat amps or anything like that. Like, it's not like it's like a hand wired in America. No, it was just a high end carpet, like the most expensive and best carpet cleaning.
There's a lot of blood on my Persian rug.
Oh no, we wouldn't be able to clean blood. Because it was a hot water extraction process, and that's just going to activate the microbes. No, it's not.
Yeah,
I know too much about high-end carpet cleaning.
That'd get rid of an awkward question before it even got asked. Like, before you even say it, no blood, no cum.
If there's a lot of blood, then they got to call a crime scene cleanup place. Those are the ones who take care of the blood.
I remember an episode of Dave Attell's Insomniac where he followed around a crime scene cleanup crew, and like they were just straight up in an apartment that was just covered in blood, like just on Comedy Central, and Dave Attell's just in the corner like cracking jokes while they're cleaning up like what is surely
he's like, is this a normal night for you, man? And he's like,
yeah, pretty much.
Sadly enough, yeah, it is.
Every once in a while a guy just he swallows a hand grenade. It was that much blood. It was like
this world is just filled with just fucking entropy, and then the next thing you know, David Attell's like doing shooters off like some naked person in the middle of like fucking Boston.
That show was weird.
Yeah,
that show was weird. It was
so fun, man. It led to him having a serious drinking problem, but it was so fun though. I used to love that.
I was bummed out by that show because when I thought it was going to be Dave Attell playing the Green Day album Insomniac, but it turns out that's what that album was called.
I'm having trouble trying to sleep.
Same as that show. Yeah. That was a really good Dave Attell Joel.
I do remember one of him going to a dildo factory, and it was when I became aware of the crucifix dildo called the Jesus Jackhammer.
Oh no!
Part of that show that's made its way into my just shit I say is that when he goes to this it's like all dogs. There's like dogs there, and like there's these two dogs sniffing each other's asses, and he looks up at the camera and he goes, "It's fucker fight night tonight." So like that slipped in. It's like, oh Jesus, it's fucker fight night in here.
I actually saw Dave Attell do stand-up at North Dakota State University in 2001 when all that shit was happening. It was just like a free show for NDSU students, or it was like, and you had to pay if you weren't, but we just like walked in because it was so oversold that they were just like, we don't fucking know who's got a ticket or who doesn't. Just come on in and watch Dave Attell. And then we smoked a cigarette with him after the show. And that was the first time I think that I met a comedian from the television.
Wow.
And it was exactly what you'd expect.
He's one of the first comics I ever saw live.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah?
Oh, actually, me too, at that show, probably. Yeah. That was before I really knew what before I'd seen
Where did you see him?
I saw him at I forget the venue, but it's in Austin. Comedy Central did a tour with him and Lewis Black.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And Hedberg opened.
Jesus, that's a stack.
We talked about this, I think, right?
Yeah, I've probably told you about it before. I might have said it on the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a big open air venue. Not a good place for a comedy.
No, it usually isn't. I've performed in many an outdoor bunch of horse shit. For sure.
God, I just saw somebody posted something where they were doing stand up and there was literally like a moat between them and the crowd. It was like this amphitheater. Dude, and at the bottom there was a moat.
I would love to have a moat. Some of the gigs I've played, I'd be like, "Oh man, thanks for the moat. That's so much better than the fucking the empty. At least that's something to talk about." Interesting, not like an empty dance floor. Jesus Christ. You didn't think you needed chairs?
What were some of the weirder calls that you fielded with the carpet cleaning thing?
Oh, it was just a lot of dog piss and shit. And there were some technicians that had stories. So like a technician will go into a place and there'll be so much shit or piss that it would be like hazardous to their health for them to clean it. And then they have to just be like, "No,
I can't possibly go in there. The poo particles alone would kill me."
You just need new floors, lady. Like that's what they would tell them. They would be like, "No, you have to do new floors. This is
the
too
problem.
Much.
Is I fire up the machine here, and the poo particles are to fill the room."
But because I went on a ride along once with the tech.
Right, like they're cops.
Yeah, you got to go learn what they do because you're talking to the customers. But I did pretend it was like cops.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It is weird though because they go into other people's houses and interact with those people and then clean stuff. I would never want to be the person on the carpet cleaning end of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just people calling in and being like, "Hey, my cat pissed on our couch. Is there anything you can do about it?" And it's like, well, no, because like we use hot water to clean stuff, and that's just gonna melt piss into your couch cushions. And they're like, "Oh, but do you think could you come and try it?" And it's just like, "No, we know what happens." Like not only is it science, but there's years of anecdotal experience of putting hot water on couch piss.
I mean, you just got to get rid of that couch.
We called it bio. I just remembered that now. I hadn't thought of the term bio for because they if there's shit and piss on the carpet, they can treat it. Yeah. Like we have a thing that kills the bacteria and then they suck it up, but
it's called more piss.
But if there's too much piss or shit, and then they just got to get new floors. And can you imagine being an adult person in a house that's covered in piss and shit? And the person that covered the house in piss and shit, or at least let their animals do so, is like expecting you to clean it.
Or thinks it can get clean.
Or thinks it can get clean in the first place.
Yeah.
And isn't that sad? But then you have to tell that person, "Oh, no.
Your life is miserable.
You need to just get new floors." And, maximum empathy for those dudes. And it's a decent paying profession, but like gallons of piss treatment would be used. Like, gallons.
I worked in a call center once.
Oh, yeah?
It was terrible, yeah. This specific, I don't know. I mean, there might be some good call center jobs. This one was bad. It was sales.
Yeah, that's bad. Any sales call center job where you have to talk to more than 10 people a day.
That's
bad.
A suck the barrel of a gun type situation.
What were you selling?
It was trying to sell search engine optimization, which if you're not a moron, you could get yourself very easily.
So wait, just like trying to
like say, "Hey, we can make your website pop up on search engines."
On Google, higher.
Wow.
And the people we were calling were usually old people who had businesses that didn't know much about the internet or...
Yeah, it's your prey.
I'm just
in there.
making pecan pralines for my neighbors.
You gotta fucking lick your fangs and get in there with them olds. Get them olds blood in you.
Well, one time...
This is on America Online.
One time a guy made me really sad. I don't know if it was even true, but he's like, "You guys need to update your information. That guy died years ago." I was just like, "Oh."
And you're talking to him. It's a ghost.
I was just like, "Oh no." But the worst part about it is you could look up in the computer if they bought the product how the search engine optimization was helping them. Never was.
Yeah, of course.
So it was a complete scam.
You're like a snake oil salesman. You're like, "Yeah, you want to optimize your search engine, don't you? Well, drink a bottle of this alligator blood."
Never. It didn't even work.
Did you feel moral hangups about working for something you perceived to be a scam?
Yeah, I quit as soon as I realized that.
You're like, we're not helping people optimize their search engine?
He got his 5-year chip, and he was like, "I'm out of here."
I just wanted to. I was working in horrible kitchens at that point. I was like, "Oh, I could have an office job. That sounds good."
Yeah, totally.
They're so
and
good.
then they had a free lunch every day, which was terrible, but it was
free and lunch.
Yeah. I mean, I work at a place now that has free lunch, and
but I've had some of that free lunch, and it's fucking great.
It's good. Yeah, it's a lot better.
I was eating some free hummus before the show.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
I've fed Rivers some free brisket.
Oh, boy.
Macaroni and cheese.
My God.
That's the best kind of all those things.
Yeah, it's good, but the free lunch there was terrible. Also, as soon as I realized, and I wasn't good at sales by any means, because you have to read a script. I'm terrible
that's not good.
I'm terrible at reading in public, so that's basically just all you're doing all day. So I'd just be like, "Yeah, sir. So have you tried just stumbling over my own words?" And then once I realized it was a scam, and I'm a bad liar. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be proud of that. I wish I was a great liar. I'd be.
Yeah, it is a skill.
I'd be scheming on all three of you right now.
No,
man.
I like to claim myself as a
Take
bad
my
liar
credit
too.
card.
Yeah.
But
Flim Flam Sam, they call it.
I'm so honest.
Bunko Harder strikes again.
and as soon as I realized it was a scam, and you kind of had to dress like business casual at this place
In a call center.
because they were trying to. I think they were trying to trick people who work there into thinking, "Hey, we're a legit place.
I have a real job.
We're not trying to just fuck people out of their fucking money."
No, we're providing a service.
So as soon as I realized that, probably like a week later or less, I quit.
The company.
Well, good for you.
I did the classic no call, no show.
Oh
hell
man,
yeah.
I could never do that, but I
you-
am proud of you.
You got to make them think that you died. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
That's the best
So
part.
like
about
the day before, you're like, "Oh man, I've been having lung stuff." I'll tell you that, guys.
I think I'm going to drink a bottle of whiskey and drive my car real fast tonight.
Have that thought at 8 a.m.
Wondering, I'm wondering, when will my swamp catch on fire? I'm wondering, is my swamp gonna catch on fire? Sitting here looking at an old bad telephone wire.
So our topic for today, we're talking toys.
Yeah, toys.
Yeah. So what is your connection? Because right before we started rolling, you were showing me some AWA tag team figures that you found.
I don't collect wrestling figures, but I follow a lot of Instagram accounts of people who find like warehouse finds of like old sealed cases of stuff, and they had a bunch of Remco 5.5 inch AWA figures, and it's just really cool. Like I've loved toys all my life since I was a kid, and I had a job for a while where I had like a somewhat disposable income. But don't worry, I'm a poor now. But then,
LA will do that
for a little while. But back when I lived in cheap Rentville, as I call the Midwest,
up there in Dinkytown,
I started collecting like some of the toys that I had when I was a kid, and then I got into like art toys and designer toys and like little hand cast, like Monster in My Pocket style rubber figures that artists like make new original toys and then cast them and sell them to people. Like it's a very like there's a wide range of toy collecting that happens now. Like you see like the shows about toy collectors, and it's all like their Star Wars figures and stuff, and like I'm not into that as much. Like I don't really like I have like a bunch of carded Ninja Turtles that I collected off Instagram because that was like my jam growing up, and we were renting a house and I had a lot of wall space, so I put them up and everything. But yeah, those are like I've never been like a big like I basically just like I never had a lot of G.I. Joes. I was basically like Turtles and He-Man.
Yeah.
And then when I found out that there are these artists all around the world who are like making hand cast resin toys that are like based on that stuff, but have their own like weird twist, or like there's like a lot of satirical. There's a lot of like satire that gets into the art toy scene.
Oh, okay.
People like hand making stuff, and they'll make like satirical backing cards. There's this guy called Sucklord in New York who does great bootleg toys, like art toys.
Okay, well let's start with like I guess what you were into. We can all kind of jump in on
Get
this
in
and
it.
talk
Get
about
in it.
what we were into when we were younger. So you mentioned Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
So
greatest toy line of all time, sculpted by David Arshosky.
I recently when I don't know, whatever age, like 10, whenever you normally stop, getting into toys, I just put all my shit into these 3 gigantic tubs.
Yep.
And
the toy tubs.
Put them up in the attic.
Yep.
And figured my parents will stay in that house forever, and I'll never have to relitigate my childhood at any point. And then 3 years ago, my parents were like, "Hey, we're selling the house.
You got to take
We're getting something smaller." So I had to go up there, go through all that shit, and the first tub nothing but Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, man. I have my Ninja Turtles tub from when I was a kid in my closet in Van Nuys right now. I went through them all and like organized everything because my parents had a similar situation. They weren't going to have a basement anymore, so I had to take my stuff.
Yeah.
But it was like a big tote of like 140 Ninja Turtles or so, and then some vehicles. And then,
I should have hit you up because I literally like we just went through it because there just wasn't going to be room for it.
Yeah,
I didn't need it, so we were like,
I'm good. I've got my shit.
Okay. Well, you probably could have at least told me what I had because like I was just finding all this bizarre shit, and it seems like Ninja Turtles at a certain point was like
they lost it. I love
they
it.
made
how much is the packaging in their value?
everything.
Oh, like,
everything?
well, no, for okay, so like Undercover Don, right? One of the classic Undercover Don.
I made an Instagram post about Undercover Don.
Yeah, Undercover Don is one of the greatest. It's such
I hate they call him
Donatello, where he's in
Yeah.
like the creepy trench coat.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's got a little like rubber Groucho Marx mask that's one of the greatest accessories in toy history because it perfectly, like even if the band around the thing broke, it perfectly formed to his face. Yeah, I have a carded Undercover Don. Oh, Sex Pervert Don. Yes, I remember that.
I did an Instagram post where you
I think I liked that post.
I'll repost this and put it on our Twitter at the Good Spot, but I changed it to say Sex Pervert Don.
Yeah, he looks like a flasher.
Yeah, he looks like a flasher.
He does, and then they released a whole series. They released all of them as sex perverts with like a cloth coat, which I've never been into. I don't like cloth. I mean, like
because it always looks weird.
That's like a pervert.
Exactly.
That's a pervert at a spa, you know.
Yep.
What? Why aren't you sitting here? Why aren't you sitting here?
Gay
Obviously
cruising
way too
Leonardo.
into it.
You don't gotta sit all the way over there. I won't bite.
Oh, I mean, like, because we could get into all of, because like there was all kind, but to answer your question before we get too much further, like the cost and the packaging and stuff. So you got an Undercover Don in the package that's like pristine. The card is like not dinged up at all. The bubble is secure to the backing and everything, and the bubble is clear. It's not like yellowed or cracked or anything.
Yeah.
Like you could get like $80, or you could get between $40 and $80 for that, depending on condition and like how it's been circulated or whatever.
Jeez.
And loose at a comic convention in a bin, if it's got all the accessories and there's no like playwear or like paint scuffs or anything, that's like a $10 or $15 toy. You know, like I sold a lot of the stuff that I had from when I was a kid I was performing at a comic convention, and I just brought all my toys like sorted out and like sold it like merch basically.
Wow,
that's a good way to do merch.
Yeah, and I mean because I had a table. Whenever I go to a convention, I get a table, so I have to hang out there all day and like sell like CDs and records and toys. But yeah, so it's definitely an industry, and it's. There is like a level of serious collector out there that I am not, but I know a lot about it.
Well, it's interesting about like you're saying like the designer toys and like that kind of stuff. It's at a point, I guess, that would seem like art collecting, where it's just like you're, figure out ways to best present them in your house and like all that kind of stuff. And
I have some art. For sure, toys. Like like if you look on my Instagram, FAQ rules you. That you can see I have the big glass cases in the office that are full of stuff, and there's because like okay, so like the real arty ass art toys are like people who are sculpting new monsters and shit, like and having them cast in Japanese soft vinyl, and then they paint them. They like hand paint them, and they'll do like one-offs or like a run with a paint scheme. But like that shit the James Groman is an amazing artist, and he designed these huge dinosaur monster toys that are produced by Lulu Bell Toys, and they sell for $1,000 if he's got his paint on them, and that's like and blank. Those larger toys sell for $500, like blank ones.
Jeez.
And they sell a fucking lot of them. I go to Designer Con whenever I can out in Anaheim. And just like seeing these artists and like the support that they get, like they sell shit out. Like there are some toy producers who they'll have a line like around the convention hall of people who are getting lotto tickets for their lottery drawing to win a pick of one of the toys that they brought. Like those lottos are crazy. Like you're standing there with your ticket around like 300 other people, and like Paul Keju, the artist, is like pulling numbers out of a hat, and then you go up to like the gallery floor that they have set up and pick your stuff. But yeah, dude,
does it work? I'm wondering about like the those sorts of art toys and stuff. If it's similar at all to video games, how basically people will do, you know, a new line of like Ninja Turtles or something to pay the bills, and then they have their own separate thing, or is there just like a whole world of just
there's just
designer?
a whole world of people who are just, I mean, a lot. Okay, so some of the people who also design toys for like bigger companies like Kid Robot and things like that, they are also. They like also will sculpt the new Hasbro Star Wars figures,
right?
You know,
like
there is some of that, but there are also people like Rich Montari in I think Connecticut, who's he is this company called Mutant Vinyl Hardcore, and they have a gallery space in New Haven.
Oh shit!
Where like every quarter, 100 people or 150 people fucking fly in from like all over the world to get lotto tickets to buy like his toys that he's designed and had cast.
What kind of stuff does he do?
It's like monsters, dude. It's like it's like monsters, yokai, you know, Japanese demons. Like he'll do new twists on old Sofubi classics, like the Smog Monster and shit. But it's like his own thing, and they do blank runs and painted runs, and yeah, it's crazy. Like I have a small but formidable little collection of Sofubi with some short run stuff, and I don't really get into the vintage Japanese toys, but yeah, I've won stuff in a lottery.
You went the lottery? You did it?
Yeah, online and in person at Designer Con.
Wow.
I've had a couple of lotto wins for like pretty rad shit that there's only 20 of in the world, and like they'll people like Rich, like Mutant Vinyl Hardcore and Paul Keju and these other guys and gals, they'll have 1,000 people or like 800 people enter an online lottery for something that there's 20 pieces of, you know, or one-offs where you get to choose like the one-off paints that you get. And yeah, there's just all kinds of different artists. Like Candy Bolton is this lady that sculpts these awesome monsters, and Skinner who did the art for like the last Mastodon cover. Like
hell yeah,
he's got a shitload of great toys, and he's a good dude. Like I've got some of his paint on some toys.
What, Emperor of Sand, that record?
I don't know, because I'm not like a Mastodon head. It was the one with like the big yellow monster that like folded out.
Is that Once More Around the Sun?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
And it's great.
Is the lottery the craziest links that you've gone to get something like that, or do you have any stories about?
No, I don't really. I when I first started collecting, it was like weird, like licensed Kid Robot stuff. So I was on the Kid Robot forums a lot.
What is Kid Robot?
Kid Robot is a company that started out of I believe Denver, Colorado, or San Francisco, and they make the art toy the Dunny. It's a blind box platform toy, basically. It's a little 3-inch bunny rabbit thing. And they have like curated series of artists that do their take on the design. So like you buy a case of blind box toys, and there's 20 of them, and some of them are super rare.
Oh, I've seen
so
this.
Like, yeah. I mean, Kid Robot's like a huge thing.
There's a 4-foot tall Dunny that's $5,000.
Yeah, I bet it's Buff Monster painted. Buff Monster and Lamore Supreme painted.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot going on there. But I don't even really collect Kid Robot stuff anymore, because it's not like it's still cool stuff, but it's a little too, like, if I'm going to invest or like spend money on something, I want it to be like, I'm looking for like handmade shit. Like I want something that was cast by hand by somebody in their basement or garage, you know?
Yeah.
So much so, you know, I made a toy for the special edition release of my first album, Can We Afford This Much Despair? We hired all the people that I like collecting stuff from to basically make this toy, and we
Wow, yeah, tell us about that.
Well, it was just my buddy Terry Brown did the design for me. It's just based on his art that's on the cover of that record, and we just had to get good drawings of it from all sides, and we hired
so is it a toy of you?
Yeah, it's a toy of the character Despair that's on all my art, basically.
Oh, okay,
so
gotcha.
It's basically like a larger Monster in My Pocket figure of like a sad devil version of myself.
Okay.
Basically. And then, you know, once you had the design, we had to get the prototype of it sculpted. So we went to October Toys and George Gaspar and they had one of their sculptors turn out a great prototype. It's amazing. And then we had this dude, Neil Anderson, I believe it's pronounced Neil Anderson. Sorry, Neil or Niall, who goes by True Tech, who does the actual rubber production. So like he's the one who like hand cast them all in his workshop, and he's in the UK. So we did like 200 in a bunch of different colors, and I've sold like most of the stock over the last like 5 years or however long it's been.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, and then we do like special releases. Like we did like red, white, and blue glow in the dark ones on 4th of July, and we released like a run of 5 of those with like a special art, and it all had a download code for the record, so that's kind of
great. That's a cool way to distribute it too.
Yeah, it was super expensive. I would not be able to do any of that stuff without Dan Schlissel at Stand Up Records, who is always up for like a crazy project. He let me record a 7-inch about Cadbury cream eggs on Easter Sunday. But yeah, and the toy is great, and I sold some at shows and stuff. But I mean, what I liked most about that experience was I sold them to actual people who collect hand-cast Keshi custom toys. It wasn't just like a toy that I used for promotion. It was also like a very cool toy, and that was great.
Sam, what toys did you grow up with?
Oh man, I had a couple Ninja Turtles, but I was really.
Did you have Sex Pervert Don?
No, I wish that would.
I had Hawaiian Vacation Mike. That was the funniest one, where water shot out of his camera for some reason.
Yeah, I remember that.
I've seen that one. Yeah, I had a bunch of the like GI Joes, the like smaller ones.
Yeah, GI Joes are great. Little 3.75
where you
inch.
pull their arms and they got the weird rubber band running through them.
Yeah, the waistband. Yeah,
that was fun. I had Star Wars toys.
Oh,
sure.
My brother had lots of Star Wars toys because he was a little bit older than I am. But that's rad. What was your favorite?
Did he have ones like from the 70s or like Power of the Force?
No, we had the 70s ones because he's like he's in his 40s.
Okay, right on.
I'm too old to be trying anything new now. But yeah, what was your favorite Star Wars toy?
We had a cool Han Solo one. I like the Darth Vader one.
Yeah,
Luke Skywalker. Yeah, Darth Vader was a cool one.
That classic Darth Vader design was really good. I can't remember the dude's name who sculpted a lot of those, but they fucking just destroyed those head sculpts. They're so good.
One of my favorite things, there's a friend of the show, Jeff May, has a show called Mints on Card at Blast from the Past, which is a vintage toy store in Burbank.
It's pretty rad.
And in the back of it, there's a 6-foot tall Darth Vader.
Yep.
And you just kind of see it, and it's like, it's kind of like a comic-y sort of store. It's nothing out of place. But it's not till you get up close to it that you realize it's not just a 6-foot tall Darth Vader. It's a 6-foot tall Kenner Darth Vader toy from the 70s with the built-in lightsaber into the hand.
Yeah.
Fucking dope.
Oh, that's another one of my favorites. We had some of the old original Star Wars that I just found at a garage sale. We had a Lando Calrissian.
Wow. Yeah, dude.
The Boba Fett's that were purple for some reason.
Oh, yeah, the prototype Boba Fett.
And to bring this all together, there's a steam cleaner in Austin who's a comic, first name Lando.
Whoa.
Mother, huge fan of the Star Wars.
Wow. Glad it's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
I have a friend in Auburn whose first name is Leia for the same reason. They're out there.
Very popular franchise. Also, I liked the Resident Evil had some cool action figures.
Whoa, dude, I had those. I loved those.
They did. That was after my time for buying new toys, but yeah, there definitely was some that Nemesis figures were cool.
Those were cool. There's a Leon Kennedy. They had the dogs that attack you, and they have a button, and you hit it, and they explode.
That's rad.
I don't know why. like it was so cool at the time, but they had like the hand that would like make that like the finger would fit right into like the trigger of the gun. And I don't know why as a kid I thought it was so cool, but you could like fit the little gun into the hand.
That's a normal feeling to have.
Yeah.
Well, because
articulated hands are like the absolute fucking brass ring of like action figure production, like and there are people who make super articulated like designer toys now where it's like they're like 200 points of articulation or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, that's rad.
It's like because like the whole like little like Lego-y kind of
G.I. Joe hands were just like that, you know.
But yeah, that was, I don't know why that stuck out so much, but yeah, like they were just really like the shading on all those was great. I mean, they were like really well done toys.
Yeah,
definitely.
I don't know that I ever saw those.
I see them come up on Instagram because I follow a lot of like from when I was buying that kind of stuff. I follow a lot of people who own vintage toy shops in the Midwest that sell stuff on Instagram, and I see a lot of those Resident Evil toys popping up in their feeds. It's crazy how much of that, and those weren't as old as like Turtles or He-Man or Silverhawks or whatever, but it's still crazy how much of that stuff survives.
Also, Aliens.
Yes, I had all those Kenner Aliens toys.
They're fucking cool as shit.
It was weird.
I had the Alien vs. Predator 2-pack.
Oh yeah, I had a Predator.
The one that you have to send away for. And I have a carded one that I got at a comic book shop in Minneapolis a couple years ago, and it was super cheap. It was great. That's like the best. That's the ultimate alien design toy. The one in that Aliens vs. Predator 2-pack. Best Predator too. Easily.
Oh really?
Before the NECA ones. But
I also had a Independence Day alien.
Yeah, let's talk about
the head that comes apart with like the little aliens in the middle of it.
It has the 4 arms on it.
Yeah,
that are like made of.
They over-engineered those toys, but they were cool.
They were cool. They had like the little thing, the switch on the back where you could split his head.
I will say this: Independence Day had the least practical toys because in order for them to stand, they had to have those 2 back tentacles to stand up on the legs because they had the weird chicken feet.
Yeah,
and those tentacles fell the fuck out always.
Oh yeah, they were bendy. The tentacles were bendy. So
no, the top ones were bendy. The 2 that stood the thing up so it could stand on its own.
The legs.
It wasn't the leg. They had legs, but then they had 2 back tentacles that were like steady that you couldn't bend. Those fucking things, you lost them immediately. Like those toys.
Yeah, they popped out of the back, right?
One of the biggest disappointments of my life was Independence Day. When it came out, I loved it. Still love it. It's a great film. But when it came out, they had a like New York play set.
Yeah.
Where it was like, all this shit. And supposedly you could like press, if I remember correctly, like it gave you like a little spaceship and you could point a light at certain sensors and it would make shit like blow up.
Yep.
So it'd just be spring loaded. And the back of it was just paper. It was like cardboard.
Yeah.
It was I was like, you couldn't have just done plastic. Like even as a kid, I was like, this is so rinky dinky.
Play sets throughout history have been very hit or miss. I mean, there's only a few good ones, Castle Grayskull,
Jurassic Park,
all of
Visitor Center.
About any of those
Jurassic Park was good.
Those mini play sets where it was like the head of like C-3PO and you open it and it's like Tatooine.
Oh, the Polly Pocket,
the
Max
Polly
Power.
Pocket. Yeah, those things.
Max Power, and they also did Ninja
Mighty Max.
Turtles.
Mighty Max is what it was called.
Mighty Max, and they also did Ninja Turtles, Micro Turtles or whatever that were like Donatello. And there are some fucking cool ones, man. Like they have one that's like a full size like 8-inch turtle figure, and then you open it up and it's like the whole world of mini figures and stuff inside of it.
Oh shit!
Like and they
so
re-released those recently. In Target stores.
Fun story about the Independence Day figure. Was going on a trip. I don't remember where, but we were flying there. And I was a young kid. I wanted to bring some action figures in my carry-on bag. So I threw some in there, including the Independence Day figure. Going through the security line, I had to put my bag on. Security guys freak the fuck out because they just see the X-ray of it. The tentacles looked like the wires to a bomb, apparently.
Oh, no.
Right.
Because they're metal on the inside.
Yeah.
They've got wires in them.
So they had to check the bag pretty hard.
That's funny.
Shit.
Also, one of my favorite toys that I had, I guess it was 8 inches to probably 12 inches, Terminator 2 Terminator.
Yeah.
And it was if you pushed buttons on the back, it would make sound effects, either a machine gun, him going "I'll be back" or whatever.
Oh,
it
shit.
didn't really move that much, but it was very detailed.
I had a lot of the. I believe they were Kenner, the Terminator 4.5-inch action figures, where it's like they had the Robert Patrick, where you like had the sword arm and stuff. I had those, and just the straight up Terminator, like just the regular Terminator. I remember I got those toys at Kmart. The regular Terminator with like just the endoskeleton or whatever is like one of the best fucking toys. But that line was, other than that, kind of bunk. But yeah,
I only own one action figure today, and it's in the package. Card's good. The plastic's good. Gabriel Iglesias.
Oh, that's right.
Fluffy action
It's hanging on the wall in my apartment. It's signed by Fluffy himself.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
It's worth a lot of money.
That's
There
great.
you go.
I
Fail safe.
wonder how many comedians have action figures. Adam Quesnell, Fluffy. Who else?
Oh, there's a well, I know
Urkel, I guess. Does Urkel count?
There's a few
Pauly Shore?
There's a few George Carlin toys, I think, because he was like in the Clerks movie or Dogma. There's his toy from
Whoa,
Dogma.
yeah.
Right, yeah.
My producer Dan actually collects toys of comedians.
Yeah.
So there's.
Did they ever make Beverly Hills Cops figures?
I don't
like they
know. I don't know, but I bet you there is an Eddie Murphy toy.
It's got to be out of something.
Yeah, I don't know if
Shrek,
they did,
I guess.
yeah, I don't know if they did a line of like 3.75-inch like Dr. Doolittle toys or anything.
There's Austin
Todd
Powers
McFarlane.
toys, right?
Yeah,
well.
Todd McFarlane
Pluto
toys.
Nash, yeah.
Movie creeps.
Yeah.
Like the movie monsters.
I had
Buddy
a-
Love.
I had a Spawn toy that was cool.
Yeah, I had all the
yeah.
Spawn
Well, didn't
toys.
they make a
The first
Austin
two
Powers
lines.
toy?
Oh,
at
yeah,
one point?
they did.
Yeah.
McFarlane made those. McFarlane Toys has made every licensed product
okay.
since they picked up Steam. But yeah, what were your favorite toys?
Yeah, I was gonna say. What did you grow up with?
Oh well, I was very into the. I liked the Image comics when the Spawns. I loved Spawn and all that stuff. I remember that's how I deduced that Santa Claus wasn't real. Because every year I would ask.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Kids listening.
Yeah.
Every year I would ask for the action figure of the character Sam Keith's the M.A.S.K.
Yeah, I have that.
It's big. I wanted it for years and years, and my mom had no idea how to get it. And then eventually she just broke down when you're just like, Santa's just not. Is there anything else you'd like? Because Santa's not real.
I got one at Kmart.
Ah, jeez.
They pulled it out of a case of McFarlane toys.
If I found it today, I would buy it just on general principle.
They're not expensive on eBay.
I would get one.
Yeah.
I had those. I was a big fan of like video game character action figures. I had the Resident Evil ones. I had like a Duke Nukem action figure. I had like
that's
a
a good Duke Nukem action figure.
yeah, like a Quake.
I'm
like
so
a character
basic.
from Quake.
I didn't know any of this shit existed.
Oh yeah, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
My favorite toy I had was like the Terminator you were talking about. It was like an 8 to 12-inch thing, but it was RoboCop. And like a fucking
That's a
gun
good
came out of his leg.
That's a
and-
very good RoboCop toy too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it had the articulated finger,
Yep.
trigger finger thing. I love that toy. I thought it was awesome. And you could take off his mask, and it's like Peter Weller's face and all that shit.
I just rewatched RoboCop this last weekend because something I wrote has some RoboCop-y influence, and I heard it. He was the dude who wrote it was on Harmontown, and they talked about RoboCop, and it got me thinking about it. So I watched my director's cut Blu-ray, and it's like, man,
does it have
not
a
a lot
dick
of
shooting
movies,
scene in it still?
Yeah, not a lot of movies hold up as hard as RoboCop does. Like that is for real one of the greatest screenplays ever, and like the movie itself is just so fucking good.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like doesn't lose pace at all.
Or
30
potency.
years later, it's the same. Like it's the same. Paul Verhoeven could make a movie like that every 10 years, and it would be perfect. But yeah, those are all great video. I never really had many video game toys, except I did have some of the toys from the Super Mario Brothers film franchise.
Oh, I forgot.
I had a Koopa Troopa from that.
Yeah, the Koopa Troopa that had the weird felt jacket.
Yeah,
Was that the one with like the dino? Like, it had like a weird like dinosaur snake head.
Yeah,
and, like a big
snake
trench
head.
coat.
Dude, that movie. That's another podcast. But like,
Oh my god!
Hey, you should come on and do our upcoming Patreon show, Flicks from the Sticks, and talk about Super Mario Bros.
dude, I would. I'd rewatch it. It's real bad.
I haven't rewatched it.
I haven't seen it since I was a
Hopper,
kid, yeah.
Dennis Hopper.
Dennis
is in it
Hopper's
as King Koopa.
Bowser or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Bowser Koopa. Yeah,
Bob Hoskins is Mario, right?
R.I.P.
John Leguizamo's Luigi.
just some toy lines that I feel need a shout out that people don't like. M.A.S.K. Did you remember M.A.S.K? The little
Like based
guy?
on the movie?
No,
The Mask?
not. It's not like Rocky Dennis's face. Oh, that's what you meant.
I thought like the Jim
mask.
Carrey the mask.
No.
They probably had that, though.
Yeah, they did have mask toys, but not only is it not that mask, and it's not the
not Rocky Dennis
mask.
mask.
The Cher one. Yeah.
It's these guys. Mask was an acronym for something I can't remember because of weed.
Oh wait, I vaguely remember this.
They were like smaller than G.I. Joe's, the figures, but the big thing was like the vehicles would transform from like one kind of vehicle to another kind of vehicle. Mask toys are fucking dope. They're dope to this day.
Yeah.
Find them on Instagram.
I vaguely remember this. Yeah.
And then also because everybody knows about He-Man and shit like that. I think one of the best toy lines of the '80s was the fucking Inhumanoids. Do you remember this? Okay, so Inhumanoids is a cartoon show, far ahead of its time, about this oil company who's like fracking essentially, and they open up a chamber to these huge monsters that then come out of the earth and like wreak havoc.
Oh, that's dope.
And the heroes, the only people who can stop these monsters, are geologists in robot suits. It is the greatest show ever made. And they made the best toys ever. Like, if you're listening to this, look up the Inhumanoids toys. They're amazing. Every type of figure had a different weird thing that no figure would need, but it's great. Like, glowing parts are like, they had these tree guys that would collapse and get taller. Yeah. And then they had the big monster bosses. The best 3 toys manufactured in the 80s were the three big monsters. Like there's like a bull guy, and there's a guy named Decompose who's like a zombie. Yeah. That thing is huge. I have those 3 big dudes on my shelf at home right now.
Oh, do you?
They're this big.
Man.
Oh, wow.
In the package, there's that's
The big green guy looks like he looks like the monster from Cloverfield.
Yeah, exactly. That's where they got it.
He's got the Cloverfield arms.
That's where they got it.
Oh, no shit.
No, I don't know for sure, but probably.
I mean, it looks exactly like the Cloverfield monster.
And that dude also has his tentacles. His name is Tendril. The tentacles, they didn't try hard naming stuff.
I was gonna say why.
But his tentacles are like kind of bendy. They're like Gumby bendy, sort of.
Yeah.
And they all have these weird glowing parts. And the dude decomposed the monster with like the rib cage.
He's like a dinosaur.
He could open his rib cage with levers on the back, and he's got like soft, fleshy, like rubber. Like you put a figure in it, and his rib cage eats them. Like they're. I swear to Christ.
It's a little Videodrome-y.
Yeah. One of the reasons I moved to Los Angeles to try to make it as a writer is to write a fucking reboot of Inhumanoids. And it's like, it's right there.
Yeah,
it would be great. It would be as present and topical as ever.
Totally.
And holy shit, dude, those monsters were cool.
Yeah.
And the cartoon is great, but the animation is bad. But it's real good, and not a lot of people, I don't think, not enough people remember it, but it's like...
Well, that's a good thing, though, for a reboot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so... just like the theme song, like the Inhumanoids theme song, oh my god.
Well, it's like that Battlestar Galactica shit where like...
Like, I'm sweating thinking about it. It's so fucking great.
Where it's like, it's just sitting right there, and then, somebody decides to reboot it, and you're like, why didn't we do this a long time ago? Yeah.
And I would not kowtow to pressure to change the name because it's silly. They would be Inhumanoids.
Yeah.
God damn it.
This is reminding me of, did you ever know of Dino Riders?
Hell yeah, I knew of Dino Riders. It's like M.A.S.K, but with dinosaurs.
Yeah,
the Dino Riders were the same scale as the M.A.S.K toys. 2.75 inch.
It was just dinosaurs that had like armor and metal on them.
I remember that.
Complete Dino Rider sets are so sought after. And I follow a lot of people from South America who are toy collectors. And they just have like these crazy like boxed collections of stuff. Like you'll see like the T-Rex Dino Rider in the package, like with like all the plastic intact and shit. And it's just like, man, I don't know where people, I mean, obviously if you have enough money, you can find pretty much anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know where, like, just the fact that stuff that people either saved it or people find it. Like
I
that's
think
the
they went under the
fascination.
radar completely because Dino Riders was never like a hugely popular franchise.
No, it wasn't. But I didn't collect Dino Riders, but I respected the kids that did.
They had their thumb to the pulse.
I was like, I picked my lane is Ninja Turtles. I'm in that lane. I'm in the 4.5 inch figure lane. All of my weapons fit everybody. Or like Battle Beasts, like smaller minifigures and Monster in my pocket and Muscle and shit. Like that was my stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get into a lot of stuff that was primarily vehicle based, except the few M.A.S.K things that I had.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love those fucking Dino Riders. If I'd had room for another in the budget my parents would allow me as a child, I definitely would have had some.
This is how dumb I am. It didn't occur to me until we were talking about it on this podcast that Street Sharks, which I loved very much,
Awesome.
yeah.
is a total ripoff of Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah, no.
It's like I think it was either Pat or Goodnight just said that. And I was like, my world fell apart. I
Yeah.
was like, you're right. It is a total ripoff.
I love those toys too.
The
those were
Street Sharks,
dope.
the Street Sharks were Jossum, even though they were kind of a ripoff of the Turtles.
Total ripoff of the Turtles.
Funny Street Shark story. A few weeks ago, I walked 3 miles through the valley in Van Nuys,
And it's hot out there.
to go
folks.
to a $5 Five Below store, which
Okay.
is like a $5 or less store, right? Because I knew that the Five Below stores were like the dumping ground for Mattel's little muscle style Street Sharks minifigures. So they manufactured a bunch of these, right? Because
Are these left over from the 90s?
No. These are new because
they're new.
that muscle style figure is making a comeback now.
What is a muscle style
Okay,
figure?
so muscle things were a toy that Mattel bought from Japan. In Japan, it's called Kaniku Man. You know, Kaniku Man. He's a wrestler, and they've got a bunch of zany wrestler people, right?
Yeah.
So that's huge in Japan. So Mattel bought it. They used a little bit harder PVC rubber and made the muscle figures, right?
Okay.
Just these little peach toys, and so I collected those as a kid. But this company, Super 7, teamed up with Mattel recently to do, because people have been kit bashing them, like taking them apart and putting them back together in different configurations, and then casting them in rubber or resin and selling them, making kit bash bootleg toys, basically, right? So that was getting so popular that Super 7, this company out of San Francisco, teamed up with Mattel to make muscle scale Masters of the Universe toys called Motussle. And then that kicked off this whole thing where Super 7 was getting all these different franchises like Gundam and other Masters of the Universe lines and Mega Man and just every franchise they could get their hands on, right? And Aliens, there's tons of great Aliens minifigures that Super 7's made. So Mattel, because they'd kind of seen this happening, they took one of their own licenses and did it themselves, but apparently like the marketing or whatever just fell out. So they just had all these toys. So they sent them to Five Below stores. So you get them for super cheap, but it's just like it's like a 2-packs. It's like they're 3-packs or whatever, you know, and there's 2 different sets. So there's like 6 figures in the line, but it was just something they did. And who knows fucking why. There's not like a new Street Sharks show or anything. It's crazy that they exist. And I walked 3 miles in the heat of the valley because I was like, I'm going to get some fitness steps in and I'm going to go get those fucking Street Sharks. And there's nothing.
Get me a Slamoo.
Dude, there's nothing cooler than when
Getting a
and
ribster,
the
getting
villains,
the streaks.
the villains, the toys are a little too chunky for the scale that they made them, but they're still really cool that they exist. And it was satisfying to find them because there's a chance that they wouldn't have them.
The goddamn real thing, the big ones are heavy as shit.
Yeah, they're big.
You could kill your friend if you chucked a Dr. Pirannoid at your friend hard enough. It would kill a child.
And they had the jaws that worked and stuff. They were great. But did you know that who's the dude that made the Riddick movies? Who was Riddick?
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. Yeah, the Vin Diesel. He did a promotional video before he was famous. He was hired by the Street Sharks guys. He's basically just playing with the toys and like showing the functionality of the toys and stuff.
Oh,
and,
I've seen that.
Yeah,
That's one of his first
it's
acting
amazing.
We're looking at Boomer. This is Boomer. He's got the biggest mouth of them all. He's the whale shark. Say hello to that round mound of pound and his power slam. Very deadly. He loves to tenderize the competition before he eats them. Then we've got Sledge the Hammerhead. Sledge the Hammerhead loves to floor the competition with the flying headbutt. Oh. You got me? He's the leader of the Street Sharks. He's a great warrior. He's got the feel real shark skin, and his special power is the right hand roundhouse punch. He sends a competition to a watery grave. Boom! Death.
It's fantastic.
I like the puppets too.
Yes, the rubber Street Shark puppets. Hell yeah!
Wow, I just remembered this. Yeah, the puppets.
That made me think of Boglins. So puppet Street Sharks are great, and I'm not trying to derail the conversation.
Oh no,
for puppet Street Sharks.
Do it.
But there was a toy line called Boglins, and the fact that you guys don't remember it or know about it is amazing. Because they were the weirdest toys. It was maybe just a little bit before your times.
Yeah.
But so this guy James Groman designed these toys. I think they were from Mattel, but I could be wrong. I can't remember who made the original ones, but they were like a rubber puppet monster with arms and a tail. It was like a weird, gross head, like a gross out style head with arms and a tail. And they had like mechanical eyes that you could move back and forth.
Oh, I had one of these. I fucking had one of these.
Let me see.
Boglins.
Oh, that looks crazy.
I never knew what the hell it was.
That is one of the greatest toys of all time. I actually bought one.
Because you could like push its eyes out and its eyes would like fucking.
So it's kind of like a stress ball too.
And they had, they also had different kinds. Like there was the smaller ones that didn't have like the opposable eyes. They just had plastic eyes that you could bug out from the inside.
Oh man!
But then the bigger ones that came in like the big cage.
Wow!
Like they had, dude.
I had this guy right here.
Yep.
I'll put this on our Twitter. We're at the Good
that's
Spot.
one of the little ones. Yeah, I had that guy.
I had that guy. Yeah, because I remember pushing his. My mom.
He's in jail.
Dude. The best packaging, best everything.
I never saw the package.
Toy. There's no cartoon for Boglins.
Yeah,
and they did some very like weird stuff with it in like other countries. Like the UK Boglins had like hair, like wigs and stuff. Like, dude, and that wasn't actually. That's not James Groman. That's Tim Clark. I would have felt bad. Tim Clark, who also does these awesome toy totem figures that he's recently been doing. But
they have a Michael Myers
dude,
Boglin.
that pumpkin Boglin, that's a sought after treat right there.
Dude.
Oh, that looks cool.
I ordered one off eBay because my dad and my brother had our Boglins in their fucking cars on the dashboard.
Oh, wow.
So they just melted in the sun over years.
Yeah.
So like I had to order a Dwark Boglin off of eBay just because I really needed to have one in my life, and it's just on the shelf.
My mom is an antique dealer, so she would go to every yard sale in Auburn, Alabama, and still does.
Yeah,
has been doing this shit for probably 50 years at this point, and so as a result, I would just get a lot of out of the package weird shit that she would find, and that was one of them. Like I just came home and I had a Boglin. All of a sudden, I never knew what that was called until this moment.
Dude, they're so great, and the big ones are so well designed. Like honestly, the one that I have that I ordered on eBay is in such great shape, and I would imagine that rubber would deteriorate over time.
Yeah, because it's kind of realistic, like feeling. Like it's weird.
The lips on those bigger Boglins are so fucking weird and realistic. Like, it's just and they have like a weird rubber tooth,
soft and pillowy.
It's a very gross toy, and that's what it's like. It's a super gross, like it's uncanny, and the design of the face is very like Uncanny Valley kind of.
Yeah.
It's like it's like somebody wearing a prosthesis. It's fucked up, and it was just like for kids, and there's no context for it. Like there's no cartoon, so they just had a box that was like a cage, and it was like keep your hands out or whatever, and made it seem like they were these like swamp monsters that had been captured and brought to Kmart. And I love him. The dude that designed him, he's now making his own. Like, and he's sculpting them, and then he's casting them in the same kind of rubber. They don't have like the super movable eyes, but he does do them like that, where you can bug the eyes out and stuff. So, but he makes very short runs. He'll do like 50 for a convention.
Yeah.
But yeah, Boglins live, and they're great.
Real quick, my favorite Street Sharks thing was they had the original 4. which one of them was originally named Blades, and then I think they had to change his name to Streaks.
Yeah.
Because Rollerblades tried to sue them.
Oh,
And
wow.
then, like, instead of just
yeah, because he had rollerblades.
he had rollerblades.
Dude, those feet are great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
and then
well-sculpted foot.
it was Jab, Blades. They had 4, just like the Ninja Turtles. Why I didn't put this shit together is beyond me. Ripster and then Big Slamoo. And I think I told this story on the show before, but Big Slamoo had a big-ass hand that you could pull back, and it was spring-loaded, and it would come down. And in the commercial, not the Vin Diesel one, but the one they actually went with, he's, like, smashing balsa wood. And it was so fucking cool. But of course, we didn't have access to balsa wood. But what we did have access to was graham crackers.
Yes.
And so we had a sleepover one night, and me and my 3 friends broke an entire box of graham crackers. And like his mom walked in and was like, "What the fuck?" And there was just fucking smashed
hilarious.
graham crackers everywhere. We're like,
Big
"It's Big
Slamoo."
Slamoo. We thought Big Slamoo was cool.
Probably better than eating those.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, I liked Street Sharks, but I never got into it. I respect the people that had them.
The weirdest one was called Moby Lick, and it was a killer whale who had
a tongue
He
moving
had a
action?
giant long tongue,
tongue lashing action.
and you could like twist a thing in the back, and the tongue would like move around in a circle.
Weird.
And I was like, "What?"
There was
on.
a He-Man figure in the Snake Men camp called Tongue Lashor, and he had a wheel on his back that you would wheel forward and back, and his tongue would come out and go in.
Oh wow!
Those when He-Man got weird, dude, shit was great. Like,
Well, that's the funny thing about all these toy lines is like they're so successful that they're just pumping money into it to come out, and then they just they turn surreal.
yeah,
you know?
so the Turtles kind of lost it with the different variations on the Turtles, like when they did like the birthday clowns and the rock and roll Turtles, and they had a lot of that stuff, but I definitely knew what it was. Like it wasn't cool, but in the later years of the Turtles, they made a bunch of new characters that were later introduced to the show, like after the toys came out.
Yeah.
Like Mutagen Man and Hothead and these like and Tattoo. Like they're really pushing the envelope of what they were doing with the scale of figures. So with like features, they started using ball joints in the shoulders, like big G.I. Joe joints, basically. And so like where there was a lot of that repetition and pumping out different variants of the Turtles, like the caveman Turtles with the dinosaurs and such. They also they had great designers working on those back end, I think they were like the 5 years, the 5-year release or whatever.
Yeah.
Is when they introduced like Hotspot and all these new characters and Chrome Dome and such. And
what do you think is the stupidest?
Oh, the stupidest is probably okay. So the stupidest, like I can't say that any of the new original characters were stupid because they were all great.
Yeah.
There was a fucking camel that had like a big scimitar. Like that's great. Like you can't
that guy was out having a cigarette.
Yeah.
Looking at his pack and was like,
Yeah, exactly. And Sandstorm was his name. Problematic today, but back then we didn't know better. It was a different time.
We didn't know about that song yet.
I think that the dumbest variant of the Turtles, it's not even the birthday clowns and stuff, because those were kind of funny. But it's like Hose 'em Down Don is
oh wow.
Yeah, he was a
Sex pervert Don.
firefighter Don. Yeah, Hose 'em Down Don. That's where it was before they dropped
Hose 'em
airs.
Down Don.
When they were still using euphemisms before they got to sex pervert Don.
I don't like that.
But I have a Hose 'em Down Don carded.
Even saying it
like
is
I have one carded because I saw it on Instagram for a steal, and it's just too fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But by the same token, they also made Delta Force Don when they did the military Turtles, and that's one of the best toys ever. Like it has problematically real guns. In like the Ninja Turtle franchise, that's like one of the best.
Isn't he wearing desert camo?
Yes, and he's got like little leaves that you can put on him and shit. Like, and he's got like night vision goggles. Donatello gets all the best face accessories.
There's like a crucifix that he goes through. And he's about to go into the shit.
And it's like a big sniper rifle and stuff.
Jesus,
dude, it is great. I've got one of those
pictures
carded.
his kids before.
Yeah.
He like kisses before
he was the
It's
one
just
who.
pictures of him and his brothers as small turtles.
Hey, now there's your fucking reboot. It's like do Zero Dark 30, but turtles.
Don't even get me started.
Donatello kills Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, there are so many good.
Zero Dark Turtles.
Zero Dark
yeah.
Turtles. There we go.
These turtles were in Desert Storm.
Dude, they would not thrive in the desert. They are a very wet animal.
Well, if it was a terrapin,
There you
perhaps.
go.
If they were Teenage
Yeah.
Mutant Ninja Terrapins, then yes. But
Yeah.
turtles,
Mutant
Like
turtles run on pizza.
Mondo Gecko would do all right in a desert.
the weirdest
you know?
one that I found when I was going through my bin that I don't know where the hell this came from, because there's no chance that as a child I pointed at this and was like, this one. So it's probably a yard sale find, but it was a chef. Like a pizza chef.
Pizza Face, the
Yeah,
greatest.
and he had a wooden leg with
Yeah,
a pizza
pizza
box
box.
attached to it.
Yeah, and the pizza box, you could take it out and he could hold it as a club, and you could put his pizza cutter in his leg instead and use that as the leg.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I get where you're coming
It's
from
very
saying
weird.
I get where you're coming from saying it's absurd, because it is.
Yeah.
But Pizza Face is actually one of the great, like, holy shit, that's a hilarious fucking toy, dude. And he had like the pizza, like you could put the pizza in his hand and he'd throw it.
Yeah.
Like I've actually got 2 Pizza Faces carded because there's a variant where the knife on his belly is green instead of white.
Okay.
So I had both of those. That's how into Pizza Face I am. And like the mouth on that sculpt is fucking amazing. Like the people who designed and executed those toys are great. But yeah, it's completely absurd. And I don't think Pizza Face ever showed up in the series.
Yeah.
But
I almost feel like, because a lot of those turtles, like, because I had to go.
oh no, it wasn't a pizza cutter. It was a butcher's cleaver. That could
That's
go.
what
Yeah.
it was. Yeah. It was a butcher's thing. Like I because I was I had all these loose ones.
Yeah.
And I was going through, like, looking on eBay trying to find a price for all of them to price them out and shit like that. And it occurred to me that, like, I think at a certain point the gravy train had to be so filled with money that artists essentially could just kind of run fucking wild as far as what they could make with Ninja Turtles stuff.
So for every 4 different variant types of turtles they had to come up with, they got to like get one
Weird
design
shit.
in there. Yeah. I mean, and the half court, the basketball playing giraffe, get out of here. That toy is amazing. He's got a backboard on his back. Get out. Just get out of here with that shit. That's great.
We got you now, Shredhead! The turtles have Shredder pinned down and are rolling their pizza thrower into position!
I'll blast you with retro mutagen.
But before he can act, the pizza thrower's adjustable aim and motorized firing action give Shredder and his henchmen their just desserts!
You clogged my gun with anchovies.
The turtles and their portable pizza thrower triumph again!
Why are we so happy? We just lost our lunch.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles! From Playmates!
So for your next album, do you have a toy in mind? Do you have a toy a brewing?
So my toy that I want to do next, whenever I can figure it out, is just doing a larger version of the kind of the same sort of thing I did with the 3-inch toy, but do it at a 6 or 7-inch scale and actually get them cast in vinyl in Japan and get artists to paint them. So that's kind of like the 5 to 10 year goal. Like the next toy release I do, I'll bring a bunch of those to Designer Con one year and get a table and do like a lotto and get some of the artists that I've made friends with as a collector to paint runs. And like that's like, it's just so much time and money. And,
sure.
But it's great. It's crazy. Made a toy.
Yeah. Adam, where can people find you on the internet, sir?
I am at faqcomedy.com. FAQcomedy.com.
Is that your actual
that's
initials?
my website. No, it stands for fucking Adam Quinnell.
Oh, okay. I've always wondered about that. Yeah.
Or frequently Adam Quinnell. That's another one.
Okay.
And the guitar player in an old band of mine called me FAQ, and I'm FAQ Rules You on Instagram. That exists from before I did a lot of comedy when I had a stupid Instagram handle and I don't want to lose it.
Great follow, by the way.
Yeah, and Twitter. Thank you. And Twitter, I'm just my name, Adam Quinnell. My last name is spelled Quesnell.
I told you about that secret S.
Yeah, I'm trying to do more on Twitter because it's an easy way to feel productive.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so find me, friend me. When I do a show, you'll know about it someday, maybe. Oh, I do stand up too. I don't just talk about toys.
Yeah,
We discussed that. Yeah, I'm a comedian and a writer. Yeah.
Cool. Sam, where can people find you?
On Twitter, Slam Harder. Follow me.
What?
I made a tweet that got almost 200 likes the other day.
Oh, really? God.
Yeah, Jesus.
I've only gotten
Crips.
likes like that on subtweets where I'm socking it to Trumpers.
Yeah, I mean, those are good too. Also, YouTube, LA Comedy Life.
Carter, what about you?
You can find me on Instagram at Dr. Clark, and you can find me on Twitter at Carter_Glasscock.
Carter's also trying to get better about the Twitter, so
yeah,
you guys buddy up.
He's still trying.
Yeah, he's trying.
Well, it's like, I don't know, the desire to do it. I need to just find something like that would make a great tweet. Like in my,
you just have to start
life.
Doing it all the time,
Yeah.
and you don't feel bad when it doesn't work.
Yeah, I just need. Like, do people do people still care about Twitter? Like, that's all. Then
it also seems like a conduit of the Dark Lord, you know. But I mean, I could be wrong about it. It just gets
no,
manipulated.
you're right.
Yeah. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rivers Langley, and you can check out the new sketch that I wrote and directed called Moonlight Madness. Share that with your friends for Halloween with my sketch group Hush Money, and our mutual friend Luke Jensen is in that as well. It's my pinned tweet over at Rivers Langley. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/thegoodspod. We're on Twitter at thegoodspod. Every episode ever, youtube.com/thegoodspod. Big shout out to our friend Richard Eden up there in the North Pole doing the hard work at thegoodspod.com and the Brain Freeze Podcast Network. Buy a shirt, prowrestlingtees.com/thegoodspod. Go to Apple Podcasts. The best way to support the show is to tell a friend and rate, review, and subscribe at Apple Podcasts. And doing all of that shows the attitude of gratitude. And if you don't have the attitude of gratitude,
fuck you.
See you next week.
The Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter at DJ Smiles.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.